Now, the local trucking industry has been vehemently opposed to the toll proposal since it was first announced last week.
And today they continue to voice their opposition, saying all drivers should share in the burden.
Our in-depth coverage continues now with Eyewitness News reporter Madeline Wright.
Truckers say they don't want any tolls on Rhode Island bridges, but if there have to be tolls, they would prefer all vehicles pay them, not just trucks. Unfair and unwise. That's how trucking industry representatives describe Governor Raimondo's proposal to toll trucks on up to 20 bridges across Rhode Island.
This proposal is simply not something that we can support.
In a news conference today, the Rhode Island Trucking Association, RITA, expanded its opposition to the governor's plan, calling it discriminatory.
I know of no other state in the nation that tolls only trucks.
Yes, other states from Maine to Maryland and beyond do toll, but these tolls are directed toward all vehicles, including cars.
Truckers say they play a valuable role in Rhode Island's economy, delivering goods for many companies, but they'd likely pass the cost of the tolls directly onto their customers.
It would be devastating to, I believe, the businesses and employees and companies, and it has a direct trickle-down effect.
The money raised by the tolls is part of a plan that would pay for fixing deteriorating bridges and roads in a state where infrastructure ranks at the bottom. But trucking industry reps say they weren't included in the conversation.
The governor is a fixer. She came into this office and was elected on fixing things. She reformed pension. Now she needs to reform infrastructure.
Trucking industry reps say instead of tolls, they'd rather have a higher gas tax, which RITA says is more affordable. One man who works at a truck driver training school says the school may have to train drivers differently if the tolls go into effect. More on that at 6, plus what the industry says could be unintended consequences of the proposal. I'm Madeline Wright, Eyewitness News.
Count on Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of the toll proposal.
We first broke the story about the tolls being scaled back this morning on WPRI.com. You can log on right now to read our full in-depth report.
And our in-depth coverage of the toll proposal continues now. The Rhode Island Trucking Association is not happy with the governor's plan and has proposed several alternatives to raise money to repair bridges.
New at 6, what the industry says could be unintended consequences if the plan is approved. Eyewitness News reporter Madeline Wright joins us now live with those details.
I just got off the phone with the Rhode Island Trucking Association. They tell me they're not satisfied with the governor's proposal in any way, shape, or form, even with the changes. Earlier today, some industry reps applauded Raimondo's efforts to improve the state's roads and bridges, but they say tolling trucks is not the answer. The tolls are supposed to help fix Rhode Island roads, but truckers say the tolls could actually lead to further damage.
Trucks will divert off the highway system and then begin to travel on roads that are not designed for that sort of heavy traffic. So that's something that we need to be very aware of, and it is a reality.
Rhode Island truckers don't want any new tolls, and they say the ones proposed unfairly single them out.
We can't live with any tolling on trucks.
And they'd have to pass any extra costs directly onto their customers.
It has a direct trickle-down effect. Many importers have priced their product very close, know their costs. This would have to be passed on to them, and it definitely would affect their competitiveness and their prices.
Rich Parenti represents a school that trains up to 1,000 truck drivers a year. He says depending on where the tolls are and how much they cost will affect which route student drivers are trained on.
We also think that this may pose a barrier to entry into a profession where there's already a shortage of drivers.
The governor says large trucks cause 90% of the damage to highways and bridges, a statistic the trucking industry disputes. Industry reps say they'd rather pay a higher gas tax than more tolls because, according to them, it's more fair and affordable and it spreads the cost out to all drivers. I'm Madeline Wright, Eyewitness News.